So we're going to look at slope given two coordinates. Before we do that, there's a few ways we can represent slope. We could just say slope is rise over run. What does that mean? How does that help us here? It doesn't really help us anything at all, but let's keep working through. Rise, remember, up and down, run, left and right. We can also look at slope in another manner, like change in y over change in x. That means change in y goes up and down. That's the same thing as rise. We're talking about up and down are y's. Change in x, side to side, x goes side to side. We're finding the difference, the change there. All right, again, doesn't really help us out. Let's go a little further. Instead of writing all this, instead of writing the word slope, sometimes we can just say m. M is the abbreviation for slope. And now there's a formula that's key with all of this that makes this a little easier. We use y little 2 minus y little 1 over x little 2 minus x little 1. This formula is key when finding slope between two coordinates. Okay, well, how do we use that in order to solve this? Before we do anything, we have to label our coordinates. Every coordinate is always made up of two parts, an x half and a y half. I'm going to label my two coordinates as x, then y, x, then y. Now, how many do I have? I got two coordinates. I'm going to label the first one 1, the second one 2. Now, I'm going to take these four numbers and put them in those four spots. We start with the formula. My y2 is -3. I have a minus sign in the formula. I still have to bring it over. Y1 is 4. On the bottom, x2 is 2. We have a minus sign in the formula. Bring it over. We need it. x1 is -3. I still want to bring the negative with that 3. We'll simplify in a second. -3, -4 gives me -7 on the bottom. When you have two minus signs next to each other, plus sign, 2 plus 3 gives me 5. My slope, -7 over 5. Okay. Let's try it one more time. Before I do anything, I want to label. So x, y, x, y. I have two coordinates. I'm going to label the first one 1, second one 2. Now let's take these four numbers, plug them in the formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. My y2 value, 2. Minus sign from the formula. My y1 is -3. We'll come back. x2 is -1. Minus sign from the formula. x1, -1. We'll come back. When we simplify now, up top, minus minus turns to a plus. 2 and 3 gives me 5. On the bottom, minus minus, again, plus. But what's happening here? -1, +1, they cancel out each other. That's 0. Now, does this mean we're going to have a 0 slope or an undefined slope? Well, if I have 0 of something and you share nothing with people, everyone gets nothing. That works. But what if you have $5 and you share $5 with nobody? Nobody gets it. You don't get it. You don't get it. I don't get it. No one else gets that $5. It's like you have it and poof, it disappears. It's not possible. That doesn't happen. So whenever you divide by 0, it doesn't work. What we say though, you still need an answer. We then say that slope is undefined, and that's finding slope given two coordinates.